The third episode of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms was the most thrilling to date when Egg was eventually identified as Prince Aegon Targaryen. In the previous 2 episodes of the Game of Thrones spin-off, we heard that 2 of Prince Meekar's sons, Daemon and Aegon, hadn't reached it to the tournament at Ashford Meadow when they were supposed to, which prompted some fear among the Targaryens. Still, the show had to go on, and the tournament officially took off in episode 2 without them. As all this played out, Ser Duncan the Tall was officially recognized as a knight by none other than Prince Baelor Targaryen, heir to the throne. Dunc still wasn't quite ready to joust, however. First, he needed to get some armor and add a special insignia to his shield. Dunc had a slight infatuation on Tanzel, a Dornish puppeteer, so he asked her to paint an elm tree under a shooting star on his shield. Tanzel concurred. In A Night of the Seven Kingdoms episode 3, this becomes a crucial detail because Egg's quest to retrieve the freshly painted shield is what reveals his identity. Then there is Dunc's affection for Tanzel, which pushes him to act foolishly and make a lot of difficulty for himself. Later on, more on that. Let's start by exploring Egg's major Targaryen secret. When Dunc attacks Prince Aerion Targaryen in defense of Tessel at the end of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms episode 3, Egg intervenes to save the day. He commands the men of the King's Guard to release Dunc, and they comply. When Egg refers to Aerion as his brother, everything becomes clear. Egg is Prince Aegon Targaryen, the missing son of Prince Meekar and grandson of King Daeron II Targaryen. There were hints throughout the first few episodes of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms that he isn't as lowborn as he seems. Because Dunc's attitude and accent are very different from Egg's. Additionally, Egg made every effort to evade detection by the Targaryen princes and seemed to have strong animosity for Aerion especially. We now understand why. After discussing A Night of the Seven Kingdoms episode 3's biggest bombshell, let's go back to the start of this episode. Egg is determined to be a good squire and set Dunc up for victory. So, he takes Dunc's horse and lance and heads out to train the steed and practice his own work. At that moment, Ser Robin Riesling approaches Egg. Ser Riesling is as tough as they come. One of the flashbacks in A Night of the Seven Kingdoms explained how Riesling lost his eye, and it's quite graphic. Still, this knight is pretty kind to Egg. Despite Riesling's brief on-screen appearance, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms episode 3, Dunc is a little agitated when Egg returns from his encounter with Ser Robin Riesling. Dunc had made every effort to be strict with his squire during A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, but he ultimately succumbs to compassion. In episode 3, we witness precisely this. The scene, in which Dunc encourages Egg to sew a repair into a garment and prepares lunch together, is very charming. Dunc and Egg have grown incredibly close in just a few days. This naturally makes Egg's true identity all the more confusing. Dunc is unaware that the youngster he has grown to love, and has been making regular threats against, is a royal. In addition, as of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms episode 3, Dunc hasn't gotten the chance to joust yet. The opening rounds are reserved solely for highborn knights and lords, while the hedge knights must wait to challenge later on. Dunc will be able to select the opponent he wants to take on in a few days. But before that moment arrives, Plummer, the master of the games, pulls Dunc away. The Lord of Ashford has overreached himself in organizing this competition, Plummer informs Dunc. As a result, he is searching for methods to recoup a portion of his investment. Plummer believes that Dunc will agree to face battle with Ashford's oldest son. As of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms episode 3, Dunc hasn't gotten the chance to joust yet. The opening rounds are reserved solely for highborn knights and lords, while the hedge knights must wait to challenge later on. Dunc will be able to select the opponent he wants to play against in a few days. However, Plummer, the master of the games, pulls Dunc away before that moment can arrive. The Lord of Ashford has overextended himself by holding this tournament, Plummer informs Dunc. Plummer is hoping that Dunc will consent to battle Ser Anro, Ashford's eldest son and a knight renowned for his proficiency in the lists. Given Ser Andro's renown, a great many onlookers will bet on his win. Lord Ashford want to place a wager against his son and intentionally cause Ser Anro to lose. Dunc is the perfect knight to take on the challenge of beating Anro for a variety of reasons. He's not just enormous, but none of the viewers will have seen him joust before, so they wouldn't be suspicious of a triumph. Moreover, Dunc is poor. He's therefore more likely to accept the farce. Plummer is hoping that Dunc will consent to battle Ashford's eldest son, Ser Andro, a knight renowned for his prowess in the lists. Given Ser Andro's renown, a great many onlookers will bet on his win. Lord Ashford intends to wager against his son and give Ser Andro the command to intentionally lose. Dunc is the perfect knight to take on the challenge of beating Andro for a variety of reasons. He's not just enormous, but none of the viewers will have seen him joust before, so they wouldn't be suspicious of a triumph. Moreover, Dunc is poor. Thus, it is more likely that he will accept the farce. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms has been building up to Dunc's time at the lists, but Episode 3 has introduced a complication. Although Tanzel Too Tall isn't too tall for him, it's clear from the last 2 episodes that Dunc has a thing on her. Even if he didn't, though, he undoubtedly would have acted just as rashly after seeing Prince Aerion break a young woman's fingers. Aerion was furious when a knight defeated a huge dragon in Tansel's puppet show. Ironically, given the Targaryens are to blame for the extinction of the dragons, he perceived this as a symbolic assault against them. After Egg notified Dunc to what was happening, the knight raced in to protect Tanzel. After Egg notified Dunc to what was happening, the knight raced in to protect Tanzel. He rips the prince off the stage, landing many punches and kicks before the king's guard restrains him. Dunc's survival at the conclusion of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is solely due to Egg, which causes the knight to discover the truth about his squire. Still, these revelations are going to be merely the beginning of Dunc's woes. Egg might have stepped in now, but there's little possibility that his attack on Prince Aerion will go unpunished. All of that will obviously have to wait until Episode 4 of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms.